Here we have a question that's asking us to form an expression. What does that mean? It means taking the information that follows that and writing it down in algebra instead. Sometimes you're given specific letters to use. Other times you can make up your own letter, often just picking the first letter of the word is good. We want to find the cost and they've asked us to use the letter C. Let's start by writing that down. It tells us that the cost that we're trying to find is of 12 pencils that cost X pence each. So if you think about what you would do if it didn't say X but it said 5 pence each, you would do 12 times 5 to get the cost of those pencils. So we're going to write that down, but we're going to write it in algebra. So 12 times X written in algebra is just 12X. Then it says and tells us about the rubbers. So and translates into an addition sign in our expression, and we want Y rubbers at 20 pence each. So again, if that said 3 rubbers at 20 pence each, you do 3 times 20. So we need to do Y times 20. And we're going to turn that around when we write it down because it's conventional to put the ordinary number at the front and the letter at the back. So that will give us 20y. So that's the expression that they're looking for. So we're going to look at a couple more examples, different types of ways they might ask this question. This is a classic. So we've been given some information here. We haven't been told to form an expression, but we have been asked to use the information we've been given to work out how old Susan is. Now, in order to work out how old Susan is, we're actually going to have to form some expressions, and we're going to have to form an equation that we can solve to work that out. So let's go through that and see how it works. So the first thing we know is that Tom is X years old. So Tom is X years old. The next thing we're told is about Susan. Susan is 2 years younger than Tom. So if Tom was 10, we'd take 2 years off and we'd work out how old Susan is. So we're going to do that, but we're going to do it algebraically. So instead of 10 take away 2, it's going to be X take away 2. Going to tell us how old Susan is. Then goes on to tell us that we've got somebody else in the mix here called Bert. Bert is half the age of Tom. So Tom is X. If he was 6, we would halve that and Bert would be 3. Here we're just going to write this down in algebra. So in algebra, a half of X looks a bit more like a fraction. So the final bit of information we've been given is that we've been told that if we add up all their ages, their combined ages, then they make 58 years. So what we now know is that X, Tom's age, plus Susan's age, which is X minus 2, plus Bert's age, which is X over 2, all of those add up to 58. So now what we want to do is work through the algebra. So we need to tidy up what we've got. So X plus X is 2X, but then we've also got a half X over on the other side. So altogether we've got 2.5 X. Not to forget, we've also got a minus 2 in there. So that equals 58. So the next thing we're going to do is add 2 to both sides. So we've got 2.5x equals 60. So we've added 2 to both sides to get rid of that minus 2. So to find out what x is, Tom's age, we now need to divide by 2.5. Okay, so let me bring the calculator up. We'll do it that way. Let me just clear off what was in there before. So we've got 60 divided by 2.5, and that gives us an answer of 24. So x is 24. Now, the question asked us how old Susan is. X is how old Tom is. So to get Susan's age, remember over here we need to take 2 years off. So that tells us that Susan is 22 years old. That's quite a classic style of question. So we needed to form up expressions for each person first of all. Then we had to add them together and solve our equation in order to work out the answer. So another way that this might show up is that they might give you some geometry or angle work to use in order to create an expression. So here it says form an expression for the perimeter of this rectangle. So to find the perimeter of a rectangle, we add up all the sides. So we've got 2 sides that are 4x plus 2. And we've got 2 sides that are 2x minus 1. So we just need to add all of those up. So we've got just the x's, we've got 4 and 4, 2 and 2, so altogether that makes 12x. And then we've got 2 plus 2 is 4, take away 2, the 2 minus 1s, that leaves us with plus 2. So the expression here for our perimeter is 12x plus 2.